Welcome to What Happened on the Job. This is episode 34. We are your podcast for relevant conversations with contractors that hopefully are a little entertaining as well. My name is Mike. That's Brian.
How's it going? And today we have Gabby and Octavio Lucatero with Accurate Firestop Insulation. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, really well. Thank you for having us.
Very cool. Well, hey, give us a breakdown and an introduction in terms of your company and who you guys are and how you guys got started in the business.
Okay, I'll start. So Accurate Firestop opened in 1995, March. So we're celebrating our 25th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so my father actually came into the company in 2001 as 49% partner. And then in 2011, bought the company out. And we were about a $2 million company at that point. And so he really reinvested in the company. And over the last 9 years, we've grown up to 50 million in sales.
Oh, that's it?
We have, that's it. Exactly. And we have about 204 employees.
Wow.
Right now.
Wow. Congratulations. That's
Very
awesome.
Cool. Yeah, very cool.
So how did you guys, so was it just the family business that you got into? Did either of you do anything before?
Yeah. So, I started at Accurate back in 2004. So I was mainly just during the summer, and then that's pretty much my initiation. So I started off with one of my brothers who was the superintendent at the time. And like I said, in the beginning, it was only the summer, and from there, it just kind of turned into a much more permanent position. And, luckily enough, I'm the sales manager now. So family-oriented business for sure.
So hold on. So I understand the dynamic here. Gabby, your dad started the company.
Yes.
We
Right.
bought the company.
He was part owner. Yeah. And then bought the company. So were you working for the company at all? I'm assuming you guys are married, right?
No, this is my cousin.
Oh, your cousins. Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought there was some sort of it's just going to get weird now. I'm just going to stop.
No.
Cool. All right. Good. Cousins. Good.
Separate baskets, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Very cool. Awesome. That makes, I understand it all now. Good.
Awkward.
Yeah. Welcome to our podcast.
Yes.
Very cool. Awesome. So what were there? Was there something that your dad did or the key factors that kind of took you from, what was it, 2 million to 50 million? That's quite the growth.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been really, Javier is really big. That's our president, my father. He is really big on reinvesting in the company and continuous improvement. And so he came from the field and was an installer, then superintendent, and kept growing roles over time at other companies. And he wanted to go to another place that he felt that he could be more of an asset. So he came to Accurate in 2001. After buying out from the partner, he decided that he wanted to hire someone who was better than him at doing the accounting and doing the growth-oriented things, since he was just from the field and didn't understand business so much. So we've had a CFO, Jerry DeRubis, that's worked with us for the last 10 years. And she's really implemented a lot of really good growth tactics and a lot of good, what do you call it?
Just a lot of different
systems and processes. Yeah.
Exactly.
We call them standard operating procedures.
Yep.
So that way, like Gabby says, we grow the people internally, and we also write the processes down. So anybody that comes in can see, okay, this is what a project manager does, or this is what a estimator does, or this is what our accountant or finance person does. So all these processes that are in place, they help everybody out. Everybody kind of has a good idea of what their job is, and if they don't, they have resources that they can go to. So
right.
No, that's so smart too. Especially recognizing, your father recognizing, what he's good at and what he may not be great at, and bringing somebody in to help. Obviously, it's proven to be.
Yeah.
Right. We're really big on weaknesses, but doing it in a good manner, So every year our management team would kind of go over what are my weaknesses and where are areas that I can improve, and we get feedback from each other. to kind of see what things that we need to train on, what things we need to develop, what things we need to work on as a team to make us stronger. And then we've actually been following an entrepreneurial operating system, a book that we like live and breathe by. Everyone at the company has a copy of it, like 204 copies floating around for all the employees. But it's called What the Heck is EOS? And it's basically how to run your business.
Yep.
That's cool. Who came across that one?
Our CFO, Jerry, introduced it to us. Mm-hmm. It's by Gino Wickman. And then he also has another book called Traction. And so every year we read it as a management team around October before we get into our planning. And we go back through all the same tools and make sure we're headed in the right direction.
Very cool. Sounds like you guys got it down. Is there a plan to grow further? Are you guys?
I think so.
Yeah.
There wasn't at first, but then Javier got invited to a Stanford Latino Entrepreneurs Program.
Yep.
And so now the goal is 100 million in 5 years.
Oh, wow. Man.
We came back supercharged from the training. So that's the plan.
The good thing is, we've been able to, so far every year, we've been able to achieve what our goals are. So, we'll see what the future holds, but, if history tells us anything, we'll be able to get there. We'll see.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. So what's it like managing 204 people?
Crazy.
I gotta.
Well, I think it was really, last year was a big eye-opening experience for us because we went from, having a little bit over 100 guys to 200 guys in a span of a year. So,
jeez,
it was a lot of learning,
trial by error.
Yeah.
Re-strategizing constantly. I think patience, lots of patience, especially with each other. I think we did a lot of trial by error, but a lot of strategizing as an executive team and collaborating with the other departments to see where our holes were and things were. But last year was our biggest growth year. We grew 43% in 1 year.
Wow.
And so it was really chaotic. And so now we've kind of taken it back a little bit and slowed down, and we're instituting a bunch of training programs for our installers, for our lead men, our foremen, our management team. Everybody pretty much is going through a 8-week intensive course training right now to kind of.
Yeah. If another thing I can add too is I think, what Javier does is he invests a lot in his employees. So, for example, the estimating team, we don't really have to project manage too much. We just estimate, and our project management team only project manages, and our field guys now are getting training before they even go into the field, the newer employees. That way they have a good idea of what to expect and also how to do the job essentially.
What our process is.
We don't want to take too many, we don't want to have guys go into the job site kind of not knowing, the way the sequencing of the job goes, that kind of thing. So it's investing in the people, and it's been great.
Right. What was the key contributing factor to that 43%, or maybe factors, but to that 43% growth that you guys experienced last year?
I would say it's a combination of a lot of things. It's the economy. We were able to establish great relationships with customers, and we also grew with some of our customers too. So some of our clients
reacting to their growth as well.
As they grew, we grew with them, and then we were able to add some others along the way. So
I think too, geographically, we're in a great area. We're in the San Francisco Bay Area. So, some of the projects we're doing are a lot of the .com businesses, data centers, lots of buildings that they're pulling up. So I think, what Octavio said is it's been a long time of coming and working really closely with their customers and making them more like trade partners.
Right.
So that they felt like they could use us over and over again without worry.
Yeah. And I think it's important to recognize too, or at least important to point out that I think a lot of those things that you had in place and a lot of the things that you said your CFO had done and the systems and all that stuff, I don't think your growth happens without having that kind of stuff in place, that infrastructure and that backbone to be able to do that. So I think that's,
definitely.
One thing that book says is that if you teach processes to average people, they'll outperform high performing people with no process. And
100%. Yeah.
What we've been working on.
That's very smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from an employee standpoint, we talk to a lot of contractors that have a tough time finding employees when they need them, let alone being able to put on an extra 100 in a year to be able to grow like you guys have. What do you think you guys did that was able to allow you to find that many employees in a relatively short period of time?
Well, we have a really big family. Just kidding. But other than that, we did a lot of heavy recruiting. We went out and we did old-fashioned recruiting. We did job fairs. We did signs inside restaurants. We did signs at hotels. We just posted them all around downtown local areas we knew that a lot of our installers were coming from. We also reached out to some of our closer competitors. And, if they had any extra guys that we could maybe borrow and subcontract them out. And so we really did whatever it took to kind of get the job staffed.
Wow.
What's the process then? Once you kind of locate those people, what's the process of bringing them in to work for Accurate?
It's getting better every day. So last year that growth was a little hard, it was onboarding 10, 15 guys in one morning, sometimes only for 5 to 6, So that's something that we're kind of looking at right now, actually, with our training plan and getting feedback from our lead men to see what the hiccups were. But the process originally was just kind of bringing them in, doing a safety orientation with our subcontracting company for like an hour, kind of showing them quick ropes, here's your contact sheet, here's who to call, here's what you should be receiving in the field. If you don't, here's who to contact, and really setting them up with some of our guys who have been with us for 20, 25 years that really are knowledgeable and can do their skill really well.
Yeah, I think that's another important thing too. Like Gabby said, we have guys in the field that have been doing this type of work for a really, really long time. So those are the guys that we want teaching the newer guys, like she's saying, teaching them the ropes, having them understand the process of getting the project done in a safe manner, so.
Yeah, it was definitely not an easy staffing environment though last year.
I feel like even if you have that down to a T and super comfortable and 100% confident in your hiring process, it's a lot. That's a huge undertaking. Yeah. So, congratulations to you guys for being able to do that and stay profitable, efficient, and still growing. Yeah. And still having all your hair from not pulling it out. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about
it. No, that's awesome. So when I have to imagine you guys were bringing people on that, all ranges of that spectrum as far as no experience to having some experience. Right. Are you seeing more success at one end of that spectrum versus the other? Maybe bringing somebody on that you can train your own way versus bringing somebody on that maybe has some experience that also has bad habits?
Definitely. We've kind of decided to go into more of a culture fit approach.
Yeah.
And we've been kind of hiring everybody now with another thing from that book is actually, do you get it? Do you want it? And are you capable? Mm-hmm. And so now that's something that we track every 2 weeks in the field and every month or every quarter for our office personnel to see, are they understanding what we're asking them? If not, do we think they have the capability to do it? And what the book says is if they have anything if they have 2 no's out of those questions, get rid of them.
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of that is being able to recognize that and also, cut ties too quick enough before it becomes an issue. So yeah, it's smart to be able to recognize those things. And I think that's important too, is the culture fit. I feel like a lot of people are looking for experience, not realizing that experience is not always great, right? 15 years somewhere with bad habits and bad training is not. And so when you point out hiring the culture fit, I feel like is, and we do the same thing here, right? When they're talking about bringing on new people here, I feel like they meet with all of our people and have, try and see what that is like before they even get into this is what your job title is going to be like.
Definitely. Exactly. Even with interviews, right? We usually, get different managers for different departments to come in and participate in the interview process.
Or even other employees who are going to be working with them closely. We call them our internal customers. Are they going to be, maybe my HR person's a great fit for me, but does my field manager hate her? Because then it won't work out, right?
Yeah.
So culture fit's been really big for us lately.
I was just going to say, I kind of transition into the social experiment that we're in right now. Have you guys seen any, I mean, I would imagine you've seen some sort of trend, but I mean, have you seen Slowdown Pickup? How's your business been? Plus also kind of
in San Francisco too, I guess.
Yeah. You guys are right in the middle of kind of where it started, but on the, the other side of that as well, what adjustments did you guys have to make as a business to kind of push through this?
Well, prior to COVID-19, we were recruiting consistently, right? So we were hiring like 2 to 4 people a week with pretty much a retention rate of 64%. But I mean, we had to kind of just think on the fly, right? We had to adjust. We basically weren't sure what was going to happen because nobody really had any answers. The construction industry went from, all right, everybody's working, everyone's having a great time, to hold on, everything needs to stop, So the initial step was that essentially that's what we did. We stopped everything. We allowed office employees to work from home until we started getting more and more answers, or at least the direction of where we were going. So that was, I think, a credit to everybody, the management team as a whole, the workers, everybody. We started coming up with different ideas on the fly, and it
was a lot of meetings during the whole COVID crisis. Was meetings maybe 10 hours a day, just sitting as an executive team trying to
figure out and plan
case scenario all the way down to worst case scenario. We can keep 2 employees. Who would they be? Planning all the different scenarios.
Like a best case scenario, we did like a medium case scenario, I guess you could say, and then just
apocalyptic.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Just try to think of everything and see how it's going to work out.
Yeah, I guess it's so different for you guys up there. We're down in Orange County, and obviously there was some stay in place and shelter in place orders and all that kind of stuff, but construction never stopped down here. I guess it did stop for you guys for, what was it, a 2 or 3 week period, right? Or 4?
Longer. Actually, we went from a pace of what we were doing, 10,000 man hours a week to 2,000.
At one point, we got down to like 60 hours a day. We had a few.
Wow.
It was a huge drop off.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I think the best thing we did was, just all collaborate and figure out what can we do in any scenario so that we can keep our employees healthy, number 1, keep our customers happy, number 2, and then make sure that Accurate survives this so that there's a place for people to come back to.
There's that. And then also, making sure that we were going to be prepared. Once we started getting a little bit more information, just making sure that we were going to be prepared when everything restarted. That was another thing too, is we wanted to make sure that,
the huge rush of work that was going to come on.
Right. There was just going to be this rush, and now everybody's kind of like, running around, not really sure how things are going to work out. If we have guys, if we don't, so I think we did an amazing job of planning ahead based on the information that we had at the time.
Yeah, well, I think I would venture to guess a huge part of being successful through that was being able to think ahead and think out all those different strategies based on the different outcomes and what was coming at you. So what was employee morale like?
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
What was that like? Because I have to imagine, for your office staff, I would assume you guys probably had them working at some sort of pace, even if it was slowed down just to catch up on some things, I'm sure. But the field guys, I would imagine, were shut down completely. How did you, were there things you did to kind of keep them involved and keep them informed?
A lot of Zoom meetings.
Yeah, we did a lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of phone calls to just touch base, had our superintendents just even reaching out to all their crews just to say like, hey, how are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling? We did send out resources fairly often, like once a week, if not every 2 weeks, just like, hey, if you guys have a 401k, here's a great option for you to loan against. And we had a lot of support from our vendors, like our HR outside subcontractor that really put together a lot of great materials for them. Try to stay connected on social media with everybody.
Yeah.
Gabby did a great job of keeping everybody in the loop too. So she would gradually just send updates on like, hey guys, this is the most recent information that we have from the state of California, the health department. So everybody was getting some type of information, and if we didn't have it, we would get it to them as soon as possible.
Right.
So,
communication and
staying transparent.
Culture. I think that's huge, especially when there is unprecedented circumstances that are affecting your employment. You don't know, am I going to be able to eat in 2 weeks? Or, do they still care about me? Do I have a job when all this, if all this goes away? I think that's huge, especially when people are super worried. In terms of business now, how are you guys? Is it better? Where does that kind of range?
Coming out of it, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, you guys?
We're ramped back up about 2/3 to where we were.
Okay.
But we're anticipating a really gig buster July and August and end of June.
From the looks of it, I think, from just being able to confirm start dates, hours with different contractors, that's what it's looking like. So that's definitely a good sign, I think. So
we're thinking that there's going to be, obviously a lot of pent up demand, but
for sure.
All of that demand going to last, who knows? So and we're sitting down every day planning.
Got to jump on it while it's hot, right?
Where can we find guys? We have our superintendent. We're like, go hit up all the hotels that closed down.
Yeah, right.
Hotel business, unfortunately, a lot of people lost their jobs there, and also even the restaurant business. You could find workers there.
Right.
So probably something we should have cleared up before, or not cleared up, but kind of asked you kind of when you first started. But are you guys doing more like new installs of the suppression systems, or the preventative maintenance or probably a little bit of both, or how's that?
Yeah, it's a combination of a lot of different. We do anywhere from small residential to large residential to large commercial, high-rise type buildings. So it's just a lot of different type of work. And
so with a lot of that commercial stuff being shut down, are you seeing some opportunity to get in there and do work? Are you seeing like an influx of people interested in having you guys come out and do stuff while they're not occupied?
Well, right, definitely. I think right now, mainly we've been seeing a lot of like hospital type renovation projects.
Right.
So that kind of happening quite a bit. There's labs going on. So a lot of different laboratory companies, pharmaceuticals. It's not as much brand new construction. A lot of it is refurbished kind of stuff or TI, tenant improvement.
Right. Very cool. Well, hopefully, like you said, kind of things keep ramping up here. I think we're hopefully on the downside of this, or I don't know, upside, or however you want to call it, but coming out of it, however you want to justify that. So what are some of the biggest hurdles, I guess, you guys have to clear on a daily basis, or what are some of your challenges? I mean, I'd have to imagine employees are one of them, having 200 plus employees, but are there any other things that kind of challenge you guys as a management team?
I think just like you said, the 204 employees and disseminating the information of our expectations, our core values, those kinds of things, just pushing them down and finding better ways to connect with the field and making them feel more part of the team. Because, as an installer, when you're just starting with us, I feel like it's probably a little intimidating coming into such a large or medium-sized company and not knowing.
Oh, large. You can say large.
And, we've been around a while, so people know our names and things. So I think it's maybe a little intimidating. And so to me, I think the biggest hurdle is just making sure that everybody feels part of the team and everybody feels connected to everyone, no matter if it's a project manager who we connect with a lead or an installer so that they can get someone in the office that they feel comfortable talking to.
Yeah. For a little while there, we had we called it the mentorship program. So we just designated some people to mentor some of the new employees. Just to reach out to them and ask them, hey, do you have everything that you need as far as information? Do you know who to contact for if your hours weren't inputted correctly? Just that kind of stuff. Not just your typical HR person, but just somebody else from a different department that they maybe might not have been able to connect to. So I think that, like Gabby's mentioning, the connection and allowing everybody to have a voice,
No, I think that's smart. My wife's company actually does the same type of thing. They have people volunteer, and it's so funny because somebody who was a mentee the year before will become a mentor the next year, and vice versa. And because it's not always about job role or seniority, it's just more, hey, you've been here for a while, you're comfortable talking to somebody who hasn't, and vice versa. So it's I think that's smart.
Exactly.
That's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
From an office employee standpoint, you said you guys had people working from home. Have you brought them all back 100%, or are you guys still
We're probably
We're kind of doing it in phases.
Yeah.
So we first brought back the project management team once all essential projects were able to open, and businesses that were related to essential projects. So the project management team came in first, as well as some of the executive management, like myself, Octavio, our field manager. We pretty much worked every day still from the office during that time. And then we just brought back the accounting team, and they're doing more so like a work share schedule. And then sales comes back next week.
The remaining salesmen, they'll come back next week pretty much and follow the safety protocols.
Yeah. So you guys have a plan to bring everybody back then. There's nobody, because I asked because we've had some people that have said, hey, this kind of forced us to, allow people to work from home and find a way to make it work from home. And we're finding that
turned out better.
Yeah, we're finding that they are more efficient with their time, or maybe, happier, or so for whatever reason. And they're kind of like, we might let them, continue to work from home. Have you guys seen any of that?
We are considering a couple different work share options or work remote options right now. Octavio, myself, and the field manager are working on putting together something to present to the president next week of what we think would keep employee morale up. Like you said, some of them feel they work more efficiently from home. They don't have to commute in anymore. They're gaining 2 hours to their day. And so just coming up with something that we feel like Javier will buy into. He's really big on collaboration and in-person, face-to-face. So kind of making it a mix of what his desires are and what we think would be beneficial with, the technology, and what we're able to access now is just so different than the old school way.
Right.
So trying to make it that perfect balance is something we're working on and hoping to roll out this year.
Yeah. It's so funny because there's so many people that maybe never would have thought about the possibility of somebody working from home, even though the technology does exist, like you said, but something like this happens and it forces you to do that. And it kind of opens your eyes to some new possibilities, which some people are taking advantage of.
Do you have any employees that are fearful about coming back to the workplace, about getting sick, anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've kind of instituted a lot of protocols. We're doing the temperature checks at the door. As soon as people walk in, we're disinfecting all of the common areas routinely, those kinds of things. And so we let them know those things, but also we've made it optional right now.
Right.
For people to come back. Our doors are open and they're welcome to come back, but if they don't feel that it's in their best interest for their health, it's not required.
Well, kind of changing gears, when you guys, maybe not changing gears, kind of circling back, when you're having to deal with like a difficult decision, whether it's employee related or COVID-19 related, if you could kind of circle back and talk about some of the processes your management team does to handle those. I'm assuming based off of our conversation so far that you guys have a pretty detailed process. I know a lot of the people that listen to this, some are smaller and don't necessarily have that. And that's kind of the goal, is to help disseminate information in terms of how
share best practices.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think for us, like I mentioned, we're really big on collaboration. It's one of our core values. And so I think, if every week we ask our team, what are your rocks? Do you have an issue with something going on in the department? Like it could be as small as, I can't get access to the printer. Or, is there an issue with another department? Like you're not getting what you need from the sales team, or you're not getting what you need from the finance team or the PM team. So we ask those questions pretty routinely of our employees that are in the office. And then we present them every week at the management team meeting. And then we kind of go over anything like that. But as far as difficult decisions, once some of those rocks or issues become a little larger, and how we handle them is we meet as a management team and we kind of all pitch what we think would be a good solution. And then we'll bring in key people from other departments to get their feedback and what they're seeing or understanding, because, what we think might be a good idea might not actually be a great solution for that person in the position. A lot of times I know I get stuck. I always say, like, when I was a PM or when I was the contract person, I blah, blah, blah. But, listening to what they have to say has been, I think, really beneficial in having to make those difficult decisions, and also gets more buy-in from everybody else.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, and you're making informed decisions by getting that buy-in from those other, I guess, department heads or whoever, and I think that actually.
I think that sometimes too, you need to talk to, the departments need to talk to each other. That way, we have another saying here, to have the right people in the right seat, so that's another way of finding, do you have the right people in the right seat? Maybe somebody is not, maybe they need a little bit more help, or they might be more successful in a different department, that kind of stuff. So just having open communication is another form of getting to that.
Yeah. We always tell everybody, whatever you tell us, it's not to get people in trouble. Javier is really big. He always says we need to FOS, fix our shit. And so everybody to give, their feedback, whether good or bad, so that we can fix our shit and figure it out with the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's smart. I mean, I think you're kind of forced to when you are the size that you are, but I feel like we talk to so many contractors, or we've seen so many contractors, and it's not even just contractors, anybody in business. I mean, you put your head down and grind, and you don't really want to know about the issues because then you got to deal with them. So I think being open and asking those questions, not fearing what the answers might be, is a huge key to that too.
The other thing, dude, when you get to like you're saying, when you get to a big enough sized company, you might have been able to get away with, just like you said, just put your head down and grind.
Right.
The bigger the company gets, it gets to a point where you can't do that anymore. So you have to fix your shit.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. Otherwise, those rocks become real big at that size. Yeah, they roll downhill real fast.
Yeah, we have a lot of FOS meetings.
Yeah. every week. Yeah, Wednesdays. Every Wednesday.
That's pretty funny. So everybody just brings their issues in, and you guys find a way to fix them. And
we try to, at least. We're 80-20 rule. We don't fix everything. But we try our best.
That's awesome.
I'm sensing a theme, though. I mean, the communication and the teamwork and the collaboration, that seems to have kind of propelled you into the position that you guys are in now. I mean, from Javier, realizing very early that there are some key positions that he needs to be filled to compensate for maybe something that he was lacking at the time, or maybe it was just time, and from that growth, that communication, I think is huge. Huge. Very cool.
So you have the structure in place, and you obviously have a means of hiring and growing from an employee standpoint. What are some of those steps you're taking over the next 5 years to double in size to just get the business? I mean, is an expansion of a territory? Is that part of it? Is it, how do you guys?
Potentially.
Potentially.
I mean, that's always, construction's everywhere. So, you never know. That certainly is a possibility. I think, we talk a lot about, especially in the sales side, we talk a lot about diversifying our customer base. So, we always want to find new opportunities somewhere, whether it's a new general contractor or a drywaller or electrical contractor, that kind of stuff. So that's one. And the other one is we're a specialty contractor. So we don't necessarily just have to stick to one thing. We can do a lot of different types of scopes.
Right.
And they all range in different sizes too. So that's another thing that we're constantly looking at, is where can we improve and where can we find another market sector that we can kind of dive into. Yeah,
we've been trying to grow the what we offer as far as scope and trades over the past few years. So we recently, 4 years ago, got into fireproofing and K13 spraying. And then eventually we're looking at a couple different things, but some that we're really heavily considering are doing expansion joints on projects and
expansion joints and exterior or continuous exterior rigid insulation. It seems like a lot of the projects are kind of focusing on that type of insulation where you're installing it from the exterior side of the building.
Right.
So those, I think, those are big opportunities there to get us to where we want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So from a sales side, and Octavio, I'm sure that you would probably understand this more, is what are you doing to train that sales staff, or what kind of tactics are you having them use to kind of try and diversify yourselves?
So
sorry, I was going to say, well, actually this morning we had a meeting for the sales team, and we kind of asked them, come with a list of ideas next week, no matter how crazy and far-fetched they are.
Yeah.
Getting their input, obviously that's huge, because you need to have buy-in from the team, but it's in sales. There has to be a lot of collaboration. There has to be a lot of communication with the customers that you're dealing with every single day. So right now, obviously, we can't visit too many people, or at least face. But there is a lot of communication, either via email, phone calls, walking jobs where possible. but also
Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
The other thing too is we do a lot of seminars. So, or not ourselves, but we do a lot of seminar training. So we try to, make sure that our skills are pretty sharp, and that if we're going to try something new, that we know as much information up front as we can. And when we can, we'll get somebody, one of the representatives from the manufacturer to come over here and basically give us a presentation on, maybe installing the material or selling the material, estimating the material, that kind of stuff. So that's stuff that we try to do quite often.
Very cool. So are you guys just in the one office right now, right? Or do you have a couple?
We're just in this office right now. We actually just moved a year ago. We were in another we were in Hayward, California, and then we moved to Pleasanton into a much larger facility, 3 times the size of the last one. We had to build offices into our warehouse. Cubicles. So.
That's funny. So got some room to grow now, huh?
It's beautiful in here. It's awesome. If you guys ever do come, we have a show. It's the whole building is a showroom. So we have, somebody comes in here and they look up, you'll see all the different types of finishes that we do for, insulation.
That's smart. Yeah.
Acoustical panels, fireproofing, K13. It's awesome.
We try to be as customer service oriented as possible.
Yeah. That's funny. And so, obviously not now because of the COVID stuff, but prior to this, you guys actually bringing in potential clients and walking them through and showing them how everything works.
Yeah, definitely. And then sometimes if they couldn't make it, it's just snapping a picture. You send it to them and say, hey, this is what the finished product can look like. It's a great selling point.
So you got 15, 20, however many different finishes all over your office. They're all finished different ways.
Yep. Exactly.
That's cool. That's
every 6 feet is something different.
And every office has a different finish ceiling. So if you go into Javier's office, his office is different than my office, and Gabby's finish is different than the other person's office. So it's
like you got theme rooms. You're at like an amusement park.
It's just like Disneyland.
Yeah, right? That's awesome.
Well, part of the show too, and I think we might have talked about this, at least with Bianca, but is, really kind of the start of the show was Mike and I, we work with contractors on a daily basis, and having conversations with contractors and hearing some of these different stories that come out of just being out in the field. And so I was wondering if you guys had anything that sticks out in your mind in the last, 25, 15, 10, depending on your years of experience with the company, anything that sticks out in your mind that was interesting or crazy or funny or scary.
Lots of stories.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of
or all the above.
One we probably can't share. No.
We've heard that before. That's plenty true.
So this is one that I heard from our superintendent and also our owner Javier. So many years ago, actually, our superintendent, who's now our senior estimator, and our owner Javier, they were walking into a project to go walk it. They met with the client, and they walked the job. Everything was great. So far so good. And then the client looks at them and it's like, hey, by the way, there's about 5,000 square feet of wall that I want you guys to insulate as soon as possible. How soon can you guys have someone come out here and install it? And Javier and the superintendent were dressed in like salesman clothes. They're dressed really nice, and Javier starts rolling up his sleeves and he's like, hey, right now. Both they rolled up their sleeves and grabbed the bundle of insulation, and they started insulating all the walls and basically took care of it right then and there. And I think that's how you gain a customer for life right there. Yeah, absolutely. That's he went above and beyond at that point. Customer service is a big deal for us, a big deal for him, and that's a perfect example of the mindset. So.
Well, and it shows leadership too, don't you? He's not only willing to lead from the office standpoint with his nice, pretty clothes, but let's roll up the sleeves and let's get dirty and be the first one in.
He's going to do everything that, if he's asking us to do something, he'll do it right next to you also,
or has done it already. Yeah.
Or has done it already. Exactly. So I thought that was a great story.
Yeah, no, that's almost awesome. Like company folklore, like passed down from generations, right? Like, before you start here, let me tell you a story.
Because I'm totally picturing him just rolling up his sleeves.
That's very cool. That's awesome.
Well, tell the people where to find you guys in terms of, I don't know, website, social media.
We have an Instagram. It's not very fancy yet, but we hired a marketing person last week. So
Cool.
It's getting there. Yeah, it's about to be.
Yes, it's on Instagram at Accurate Firestop. And then our website's just accuratefirestop.com.
And our website is really awesome, by the way. So you can go in there.
I saw it. It is beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So are you guys ready to be social media stars now? I mean, your marketing person is probably going to be all over you guys.
Yeah, she's been standing outside the window off and on the whole time.
Are they done? Are they done?
I'm expecting a lot of contracts or people reaching out. Hey, can I interview you guys?
Signing a lot of autographs tomorrow.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're going to be big stars now. Very cool. Well, we appreciate the time, guys. Thanks so much for meeting with us and sharing your story. It's always fun. We have a great time doing it. I hope you guys had a good time as well.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Very cool. We'll keep in touch. Good luck. And hopefully we can touch base the next couple of years, and you've already hit that 100 million. You take 3 years off after that, right? If you finish it in 2.
Thank you guys very much. Have a good one.
All right,
thanks, guys. Have a good one. Hey, thanks for listening. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a like or 5 stars or whatever means you like us.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And check out our website for more video content and extras.
While you're there, shoot us a message if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.